Hello, I'm Dusty Weis from PodCamp Media, and we are excited to be casting live this afternoon from the floor as the official podcast of the Wisconsin Esports Summit. PodCamp Media is an award-winning podcast production company based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but we work with clients all across North America. We help them make podcasts that work for their brand, for their association, whatever the heck they want their podcast for. We help them meet their goals with that. And we are also proud to support the Wisconsin esports scene and the work that the Milwaukee Esports Alliance does. Joining me today, Matt Covarrubias, my partner in crime today, one of the co-hosts of the currently on hiatus Battery Low podcast, but they've got a good library of stuff, so go check that out for video game news, reviews, and rumors. Matt is also one of our contract podcast editors at PodCamp. Matt, happy to be back here for the third year at the Wisconsin Esports Summit.
I'm tempted with a setup like this and an environment like this to go, that's right, Dusty. But I won't. I'll spare the shout casting, and just say, yes, I'm excited to be here. This is one of my favorite environments. These are my people, and looking forward to it.
Already a great experience. You and I just mere minutes ago were over at the virtual reality game slaying some zombies.
Yep.
And getting our reps in there with the AK.
Yeah. Dual-wielding AKs.
I did not know. Honestly, I would not recommend that in a professional range environment, but
Sure.
in the virtual reality, fun as heck.
Yeah.
So throughout the afternoon today, we are going to be talking to the panelists, the sponsors, participants here at the Wisconsin Esports Summit. But our first guest, we are very excited to speak with, is Kaitlyn Bero.
Yep, that's correct.
Did I say that right? The
yes,
board president of the WIHSEA, or WIHSEA. We
That
have
is
decided
correct.
to go with, but WIHSEA is the Wisconsin High School Esports Association. It's a nonprofit org founded in 2018, and it's designed to help develop and foster esports in schools across the state. So, Kaitlyn, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Now, I was trying to think of some quippy shoutcaster thing to say, but I'll have to work on that.
Back to you.
There we go. Back to the interview.
Kaitlyn, tell us a little bit of background about how the organization got started and how you got involved in it.
So that's actually fascinating. You might have seen him earlier over here before. Mike Dolly was the original president and founder of WIHSEA. The organization started back in 2017, a little bit earlier than that actually, when Mike Dolly, the former president, now current executive director, basically started seeing students watching League of Legends competitions in class and talking about it. So as any good teacher does, you obviously ask your kids what they're interested in, and he's like, this seems interesting. We could make this happen.
And then turn it into a learning experience.
Oh, yes,
Make it
always,
more than
yeah.
Observe what they're into and then find a way to trick them into learning something from that.
Precisely. And what he ended up doing was how to organize an entire league and basically how to communicate with different schools across the state that also have students interested in this. It started a lot more in southern Wisconsin, and honestly, it's really grown to an explosive level. I believe we currently have, as you cited earlier, over 100. I know we have a minimum of 60, and it also varies season to season how many different students we have and student participants we have. Like this past year, we've had over 3,000 students participate in our league alone through a variety of different titles throughout our spring, fall, and winter seasons. My growth is a little bit different, or my involvement in the organization is a bit different. I started 4.5 years ago as an esports coach because I was the Hail Mary ask, if you will. So I was a new teacher. I've heard about esports at my other school district, but
where do you teach?
I teach at Durand, Arkansas, Wisconsin, high school, middle and high school actually, and that part's important. But I had some students reach out as the Hail Mary, oh, this is a new person. We haven't had a lot of teachers otherwise bite. Maybe we can find an esports coach out of this person. Because they had been researching and wanting to do esports. Their principal's like, yeah, I think we can make this happen, but you need to find a staff member to do it. And I was their last choice, which I don't know if I should be flattered by or a little insulted. However, that changed, honestly, the direction of my entire life at that point. Basically, ever since then, I'd been involved more in the league. We ended up going to state for Valorant, within our second year.
Congratulations.
Of existence. Thank you. That's a while ago, but the kids did all the work there. I'm just like, yeah, we did it. Good job, guys. I didn't know what Valorant was before that, but we learned very quickly. They did a great job. And then after I saw how the state competitions went and just the level of impact it had on those students, I'm like, I want to help with that. I want to do that. So I helped out on the board of directors at our annual meeting. They asked for volunteers. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I volunteer as tribute. And then after that, I liked being a little bit more organized. Honestly, it was to help me remember more than anything else. I ended up becoming secretary. And then after that, I ended up becoming the board president after Mike Dolly stepped away from being board president in order to take on the executive director position with his association with Fenworks now.
That's fantastic. And speaking as someone who came up as a young man in southern Wisconsin, did not have an outlet like that because I apparently grew up in the Stone Age.
I feel you there, too.
I think it's so cool to see, but I also know that the state of Wisconsin has a very powerful WIAA, the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletics Association, if I'm getting that acronym correctly.
That sounds correct to me.
WIAA has been around forever. They oversee all the other sports in the state of Wisconsin. Where were they on this?
So, WIHSEA has had conversation with the WIAA. In the past, that was a little bit before I really got involved, so some of that's even prior knowledge to me, so I had to do a little bit of research and ask a little bit more like, hey, what was going on? So one of the main issues that happened, or one of the main sticking points, is that esports is constantly evolving and adding rules and changing rules, and we're adding titles. So our organization, as well as other organizations across the country, are working on having a more unified and standardized rule book. And we're partnering with the ISEA, which is the Interstate Scholastic Esports Association, in order to basically have a unified rule book that we can go back and refer to. But I am very excited to see what this organization will do, and I'm hoping that it'll help us with opening up those conversations again with the WIAA so that we're all ultimately doing the same thing to support these students, and it'd be nice to be able to work on it together. So we're super excited, hopefully, that they can reach out to us again, like if they're ever interested in helping or participating in esports in that way.
Now, I also heard you were involved, speaking of the ISCA, with them and a Nintendo collaboration. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that is a really cool piece of information as well. So a long time ago being like over 2 years, so, long time, I guess, in technology terms.
Sure.
Danielle Johnson, who is the now president of the ISCA, she helps organize the organization, and she's also, I believe, the director of TexF, so Texas Esports Federation, has been working with Nintendo, trying to make sure that we can collaborate with them, work with them, and make sure that they're okay with us using their titles and participating and having kids basically compete using their games. So she was able to really lay the groundwork with Nintendo in these conversations so that Nintendo is actually donating product and helping and work in collaboration with the ISCA for the schools affiliated with the ISCA organizations, which WIHSEA is part of, and giving out their competitive titles for competitors and for schools to have access to as a way of limiting that financial barrier that a lot of schools and a lot of students even face with esports and competitive video gaming. They were willing to give out copies of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and all of the competitive DLC to go along with that, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and the DLC along with that, Splatoon 3. And then one of the things that I think is really cool is the Nintendo Nintendo Online, a 1-year subscription of that is included as well.
Nice.
Because again, that's one of those barriers that you don't think about until you are working on a competitive system and trying to figure out, okay, how can I make sure that my kids can compete every single year in this title? So that's been a really cool project to be involved with. And I've been helping basically to distribute the codes for all of the 25 different member organizations of the ISCA. As of my check earlier this week, we have distributed about 8,000 codes.
Wow.
8,000 codes to all of the different states. And Wisconsin specifically had 300 plus free product to be used within their competitive esports facilities, which has been a really great honor to be a part of. I definitely now at this point breathe, sleep, and probably eat Nintendo a little bit. But that's been a really cool thing to be a part of and to be involved with. We want to eliminate any barrier that you have. That's really cool.
Yeah,
it's great to
awesome.
see a big corporate player in the space give back to help feather a nice nest for an organization like this to take root. And certainly in the past couple of years, you've seen some growth in the organization. I mean, I have here in my notes, thank you, Matt, that you started with 7 schools in the association, and now you're up over 100. How has it been growing the organization, and what about what you're doing really seems to be connecting with people?
Great question. The biggest reason why I think that this organization has continued to grow is that it consists of good people who want to help. WIHSEA puts the students first in all of their decisions, from title selection, from competitions, from even volunteer opportunities or how students can get involved. We actually have a speaker on the panel today who's one of our WIHSEA ambassadors. So that's a student participating in the program that's actually coming out and speaking in front of people about their experience in esports, and that's so cool.
Which, by the way, is a great formative experience and something that they're going to learn a ton from and grow from and go back to their community a stronger public speaker and a more confident human being.
Look at you with your education terms. That's awesome.
I'm here for this.
Yeah. So it's been absolutely great getting to be involved with a bunch of people who also believe that, you know what, we are doing this for the kids, we're doing this for the students. What can we do in order to help them achieve that? Whatever that passion looks like. Again, we take a look, we're doing CTE competitions, so taking a look at, okay, hey, you're broadcasting. Let's align with the Wisconsin Broadcasting Association, see what their requirements are for their competitions, align it with ours so you can submit to us and submit to them. Same with FBLA, FCCLA, DECA, a whole bunch of different CTE organizations are really working with us, and it's been a really cool collaborative experience to get to see our students not just participate in the playing, but also in the production. So that's part of the reason why I think our association has grown, because it's not just about playing games and growing your ability in being a player, but growing yourself as a person and growing yourself as the whole student and focusing on the whole student as opposed to just this one aspect of being a gamer or being an esports athlete.
Sure. And with that growth comes recognition. And it's my understanding that you recently received an award from the National Association of Esports Coaches and Directors. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I did receive the award for K-12 Coach of the Year for their 2025. I was not expecting it. I definitely sounded like an idiot when they called my name. Short of having a spoonful of chocolate cake up at my mouth type of levels of just ridiculous appearance. But it was really great getting to be recognized for that hard work, and also thinking about how, honestly, 4 years ago, I would have never expected my life to be focused so much on esports that I would be considered a national candidate for an award, more or less even a state level recognition. Honestly, I think back to that kid who asked me as his Hail Mary, and I'm like, I owe that student so much, because honestly, I would not be the person who I am or meet the friends that I have today if it wasn't for that kid honestly taking a chance on me, and then vice versa of me taking a chance on them.
With that national attention, I would imagine there's also come maybe requests for information or guidance, coaching, if you will, from other up-and-coming state associations that are looking to do what you've been able to do here in Wisconsin with your group. Have you heard from other people being like, WIHSEA's got something good going on. How do we get that?
Yeah, I talk a lot with a lot of other organizations as well. That's part of the working with ISEA is I get to collaborate with so many other people that have either won Director of the Year or Coach of the Year, so I get to ask them a lot of questions too, as well as have people go, hey, you do a lot with middle school students. What do I do to like help bring middle schoolers in? What do I do to help bring a middle school program in? What have you done that's been successful versus what can I do? And it's been really great getting to talk with different people to come up with, hey, let's talk about setting physical expectations for students of we're not going to sit down in the dungeon. We're not lovingly called the dungeon. We're not going to sit downstairs in our esports arena just playing games in the dark. Let's talk about our image, but also you need to get moving. Let's get active. It doesn't have to be extreme athletics because for some of my students who are differently abled, that's not something that's feasible, and that's why esports is honestly great because there are very few physical limitations that prevent someone from being able to participate. Making sure that you understand how your muscles are moving and your muscles are working. I think I've thrown those kids in so many yoga preparatory. I think they're going to actually hate yoga potentially, or grow to love it. I've grown to love it. I know that there's been other coaches that are like, hey, we're going to go volunteer and use that as we're shoveling off the track for other teams, other school sports, other activities, which is also a really good way for them to be involved with the school and showing off hey, we care about you guys too. So then honestly, their classmates care about them as well. And they're not the kids that just play computer games. Oh, that's the kid that helped me clear off the track so that I could practice for state. And that makes a really big difference too.
Making an impact, certainly with everything that you do, and it's exciting to hear. One last question, well, two last questions before we let you go here, but with everything that you've accomplished over the last several years here, I mean, the organization's still less than a decade old, so what do you hope to see next under your tenure as president of the board at WIHSEA, and what are your big plans for the future?
I think we're going to see a lot more development in those CTE programs. We want to see more of our students understanding that it's not just video games, but it's also broadcasting, it's also creating assets, it's also communicating and documenting. So I expect that the CTE competitions are going to be a lot bigger of a forefront. I think also we're going to see a lot more involvement from our students and coaches with the ambassador program and with having more student participation on committees, talking about when it comes to the rules committee, what is the call on using map pools? What is the call on using pauses in Rocket League? And really making sure that we highlight, hey, these students are experts. We're trusting you to make this call. So I see us really saying, hey, let's empower these students to really make sure that we're fostering our organization and moving forward so that we're not just serving one group of kids, but we're serving a whole bunch of them. That we continue this legacy, basically.
Well, again, it's a great legacy. It's something that I wish that I had had when I was a high school student in Wisconsin. And so speaking for the future generations of students, they're lucky to have you at the helm of it. Kaitlyn,
really
thank you for joining us. We have one more thing that we have to ask you about because, Matt, we've received some breaking news here. A news release actually put out by GameStop with the headline, GameStop declares PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U are officially retro consoles. Now, this is...
Oh, no.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, I mean...
It's a valid reaction.
Hey, GameStop woke up and chose violence this morning.
Yeah, we had the snowstorm and now we get violence?
And now this.
Thank you for that.
So we're going to be discussing this throughout the cast today, but just to kind of clap back against GameStop here, we wanted to ask you, what is your go-to comfort retro game?
Oh, my go-to comfort retro game? Mm-hmm. Oh, no. See, I'm going to go old school Xbox on you, and I would say the original Star Wars Battlefront or Star Wars Battlefront 2.
See, that's a retro game. That's a retro game.
That was my comfort. I also would say Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That was probably
KOTOR.
my first experience with any type of game like that. and it was the first game I completed before my brother did. So, that was a fight.
Bragging rights.
A little bit.
Well, Kaitlyn Bero, president of the board at WIHSEA, thank you so much for joining us here on the event podcast.
Yeah, thanks. It was great to get to meet both of you, and I'm excited to hear what else everybody else has to say.
Well, our next guest is standing by, so thank you for joining us. Ben, if you want to slide into the seat here. And of course, we are joined now by Ben Hinkel, the Accessibility Services Specialist at Access to Independence. Access to Independence is a disability-led organization providing resources, services, and advocacy to people of all ages, all disabilities, and all identities in South Central Wisconsin, one of 8 independent living centers in Wisconsin, and a part of a nationwide network of over 400 of those centers. So, Ben, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what your role is at Access to Independence?
Yeah, absolutely. So I coordinate all the different aspects of our accessibility services program. So that's anything from doing individual home accessibility assessments for people. We do things for government agencies. We've done some larger events, a couple nature preserves even, and then I'm also in charge of the technology part of our adaptive gaming program.
And can you tell us a little bit more about that adaptive gaming program? Because we're obviously here at the Wisconsin Esports Alliance Summit. What entails that program?
Sure. So it is, we have a pretty wide variety of different button switches, joysticks, and such that we can hook up to the Xbox Adaptive Controller and let basically anybody with any level of ability have access to video games in some form or another. So all somebody needs to do to access that program is just give us a call and say, I have a disability, I want to do this. And we say, okay, and then it gets done.
Nice. So obviously accessibility in esports and gaming broadly is the main topic we want to get into today, but let's just back up, if you could, just establish what really does accessibility in esports mean and kind of establish for those who are unaware, like why does it matter?
Sure. So gaming especially is a really powerful tool for combating social isolation, giving people, meaning, community, especially some folks that wouldn't be able to go out and access those things. It's just such a robust community to be a part of. Fundamentally, we as humans need that to be able to survive.
Yeah, totally. And important work you're doing there. I imagine alongside doing that work, you come across some barriers, some obstacles. What are the barriers to achieving accessibility in esports?
The big one, the main one, is that a lot of times the restrictions on different equipment that can be used can just right out of the gate completely block certain people from being able to participate if they need, an adaptive joystick or a separate button or something like that. Because on the one hand, I get that you've got to even the playing field for people. You don't want to provide an unfair advantage for somebody, but it's just the drawing the line between advantage and equity and equal access is difficult, to say the least.
I'm curious, what are some of the solutions that you've been able to craft for people? You mentioned an adaptive joystick. What does an adaptive joystick look like? Whom does it benefit, and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So I can give you just a quick overview of something that I put together for one of my consumers a couple years ago. He has muscular dystrophy, so doesn't have a whole lot of fine motor control and finger strength. So adaptive joysticks, in this case, it is a separate unit that gets plugged into the Xbox Adaptive Controller, 3.5 millimeter plug, and then the joystick, there is a kind of cow horn shaped topper on it, so you can rest your hand on it and the raised edges of that cow horn stop your hand from slipping off. So you don't need grip strength to be able to use it. You just need to be able to move from the shoulder and a little bit from the elbow.
And are most of the builds that you're doing, you referenced it as a build, right? Are most of these custom builds, or are there certain products that you know that a lot of people will be able to use?
Nowadays, it's pretty standardized, which is really nice. So there is, and I mentioned it before, the Xbox Adaptive Controller is probably the gold standard of all the accessibility equipment out there for gaming. And you can plug any existing accessibility switches that you have into it. So a lot of times if people need that equipment, they already have some of it. Which helps quite a bit. But yeah, it's come a long way from needing to, solder something together.
I was going to say, how long you been doing this?
On and off.
On and off for a while? I won't make you give me a real number here, but if you're talking about soldering things and doing custom builds and something like that, now I've got to know, what's the cleverest, most interesting workaround that you've ever developed for somebody?
For a while, I only had use of one of my arms pretty minimally, and I got a couple different voice-to-text, like open source softwares working together so I could use just one finger and a microphone to play, what was it? Planescape Torment. So it was a while ago.
Pretty good stuff, yeah.
I'm curious how do people who need access to this equipment, how do they get it, and how do they voice what's working and what's not, and how does the industry sort of respond to that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, there's a couple different aspects to that, and I'll address all of them. So as far as getting the equipment, there's a few different avenues that you can go down. So there are some organizations out there that will work with you to figure out exactly what equipment you need, any mounting or positioning things that need to be put into place. Able Gamers is a big one. They're a charity. They'll start to finish. You work with them. They do the assessment. They get you the equipment. So they're really good. Their wait list is super long, but that's because they're a great organization. Another option is go to an independent living center. And not all of us have adaptive gaming programs, but more and more, especially in the state of Wisconsin, we're getting some more robust programs put together. And you can work one-on-one with one of us to kind of get things set up, troubleshoot, figure out what equipment you actually need before you go out and spend your own money on anything. And that, being able to troubleshoot before you even open your wallet takes a lot of the cost and headache out of it.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it's certainly a worthy cause, and it's exciting to hear that so much progress has been made in it. How much further do we have to go? If you could wave a magic wand tomorrow and change one thing about the accessibility of gaming, what would you do?
Cost. Cost is the big one. It's not as bad as it could be. Typically, when anything is marketed to the disability community, there's a pretty substantial markup. And with the Xbox Adaptive Controller, and then Logitech came out with a gaming kit, you can get a decently workable setup for $250, $300, which obviously is significantly more than a standard unmodified controller. But it could be worse, I guess. It could be a lot better, but...
Well, if folks want to learn more about Access to Independence or get involved, help out, or even talk to you about maybe helping them with their next workaround, how do they learn more about the organization?
Yeah, so you can visit us on the web, accesstoind.org. We have a adaptive gaming expo that's going to be coming up this August. I believe we landed on August the 8th. It's going to be in Madison. This will be the third year that we've held it. So if you want to learn more specifically about the gaming program, that would be an excellent place to go for that.
Well, we can't let you go without asking you one last question. We have some breaking news that GameStop declared. I love how official that sounds. GameStop
like they're
declared,
in charge.
Yeah, that the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U are officially considered retro consoles.
They can't do that.
Which I'm with you.
I haven't heard anybody react positively to this news yet.
No one's like, yes, I'm aging. But to clap back, what would you say is your favorite go-to comfort actual retro game?
That's like asking me to choose my favorite kid.
I mean, if that's an easier question to answer, please tell us
I've
your
only
favorite
got
kid.
the one, so it's real easy
That's
in
easy.
this case. Fallout New Vegas, I think, is probably my go-to favorite comfort game that I always go back to.
Plug back into that world and away you go. Well, excellent. Well, Ben Hinkel, Accessibility Services Specialist at Access to Independence, thank you so much for joining us here on the Official Event Podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, Matt, all right, we've sprung this news on a couple of people here today about GameStop's declaration, but I think that it's time for us to actually get down to the meat and the potatoes of this thing because nobody's been happy about this news. And in fact, I would be shocked if anybody reacted positively to this at all today. But I think we just have to start with the news release that GameStop put out. Crassly, might I add, put out on their social media.
Yes, yeah.
Just springing it on everybody here.
A Twitter bombshell.
Ugh. As if we didn't get enough of those in our regular day-to-day life. GameStop declares PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii U are officially retro consoles. GameStop today issued an official declaration. The ruling was reached following careful analysis of multiple indicators, including the presence of component cables. Well, they've got a point. The lack of Fortnite. And I gotta give them this one, the realization that they launched when George W. Bush was still president. So, okay, under GameStop's retro classification standard, the aforementioned systems will now join the ranks of other beloved legacy hardware in the retro category, such as the Sega Saturn and the Nintendo DS, which, yes, those are retro consoles.
I can accept that.
I would accept that. I cannot accept the PS3 and the Xbox 360 as retro consoles.
No.
I think that is simply... It's an act of violence to declare so. And then, of course, the rest of this, at GameStop, you get a 10% trade-in credit because they're celebrating this.
Free advertising.
Now it's
They're
a commercial.
us.
Now it's a commercial. But the part that made news is the declaration that those are retro consoles. You're a young man.
Yep. I thought.
Celebrating your 26th birthday today.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Maybe this hits you harder than it hits me.
I think it does, because it's not saying, I don't know the headline you're reading, it's saying Matt declared retro. That's what it tells me, because the 360 was my console. The 360, also maybe the greatest console of all time, first of all, but that was what I grew up on. And telling me now that is a retro console, it does feel like someone pulled off an old-timey white glove and slapped me twice asunder.
No. Well, okay. If it stings for you, let me explain it from my perspective.
Well, you've been through this before, surely?
Many times. The PS2, that's retro. I can accept that.
Sure.
Super Nintendo system. I grew up with that.
Sure.
That's super retro.
Yep.
Absolutely. The NES, the Blaster, the Duck Hunt.
Yep.
Obviously retro.
Yep.
No disagreement there. The Xbox 360 was the first console that I bought as an adult.
Ah, okay.
And that is why this is hitting me particularly hard today, because it's not like, this beloved nostalgic thing from your childhood, that's retro. I can accept that. I cannot accept something that was a part of my adulthood.
Yeah.
being declared retro.
Yeah.
By these knaves.
Yeah.
This
shadow council
from GameStop. it's unacceptable. And another thing, as long as I'm getting on the soapbox
Stay
here,
up there.
the ruling, we're calling this a ruling, as if there was a panel of distinguished judges that sat down and weighed precedent to arrive at this conclusion. This is nothing but a crass publicity grab from a company that may very soon be declared retro itself. There, I said it.
Wow. Bold. I mean, you got to do something with all the meme stock money, and this just seems like how they're spending their time. Yeah, I don't know if this says more about me or more about this declaration, but I mean, I'm still playing some of the games that were on the 360. I'm still booting up Halo 3 with my friends. I mean, we're still getting a new Modern Warfare every day. I mean, we just got a remaster of Mario Galaxy. This is not like booting up the original Mario and being like, wow, simpler times. This is still relevant games that we're getting loving remakes and remasters and re-releases still today.
Do you still pay for your subscription? Your
Xbox Live?
Your Xbox Live.
No, I'm a PC gamer now.
So you pulled the plug on that.
I did.
And that's.
But that was the golden era of Xbox Live.
Oh, sure, absolutely. No, I just I haven't paid for it for years. My father recently canceled his Xbox Live subscription, which I realize I might be undermining my own case here by telling you that a man who is a grandfather still plays his 360. So maybe in that respect it is a little bit retro, but
multi-generational. Gaming appeals to everybody.
it's universal.
It's universal.
The appeal was universal.
Yeah.
It was. So Halo 3.
Yep.
What are your other go-tos on the 360?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think 360 has classic go-tos, but I think also it has, in that generation, it has the greatest year for video games maybe ever, in 2007.
Okay.
And this is a debate.
We're going to make a point here.
We're going to make a point.
I want to hear it.
I'm going to list out some games. Some of these are my go-tos. Some of these are just I know and appreciate as iconic games. I already mentioned some. Mario Galaxy. Classic.
Solid.
Getting
Solid
a movie
title.
this year. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. I mean,
that
come on.
hits hard.
Come on.
And it's funny to me because my Instagram feed, almost weekly at this point, on the Reels, I'm scrolling through it, and it plays that cutscene from Modern Warfare. It's either the cutscene from Modern Warfare or it's like footage from the No English mission.
Oh, no Russian?
Or no Russian. Sorry, no Russian mission. And all these like Zoomers, all these kids your age, are like, whoa, this game hits hard. I can't believe this is so old and blah, 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 blah. And then I get all indignant about it. But it classic.
Classic. I mean, gave us the gamer montage, the 360 no-scope. I mean, this is classic stuff. Classic stuff. Oh, maybe I'm leaning into it. I don't know. God of War 2? Metroid
Solid
Prime
touch.
3?
Metroid Prime, okay, yeah.
BioShock? Mm-hmm. We got the entire Valve Orange box. That's Team Fortress 2, that's Portal, that's Half-Life 2 Episode 2. That's huge.
Portal is... that's in my top 3.
That's
in
a
the
Rushmore
Pantheon.
game.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's a Rushmore
It goes up on the mountain.
Yeah. I'm glad we were aligned on that because Portal 2, I mean, if we, you know how Letterboxd does like a top 4 movies on your profile, Portal 2 easily would be on my top 4 video games of all time.
1,000%. Yep. Some of the best world building, some of the best voice acting.
Oh my gosh.
Some
Stephen
of the best
Merchant?
plot twists.
Some of the best potatoes. Guitar.
Some of the best original music. Hang on, because I didn't shout out Jonathan Colton yet.
Okay.
The cake is delicious and moist.
I think it's a lie. Guitar Hero 3. Remember Guitar Heroes?
Oh, Guitar Hero.
Remember getting an addition, maybe getting a controller that is a thing? What happened to those?
My roommate in 2007, a remarkable Guitar Hero player, accomplished, won a local tournament.
Oh, wow.
Just to shout that out.
An esports athlete.
But one might say. Now, but in addition to that, he didn't like the latency of playing it on his TV, and so he played it with headphones.
Okay.
And so I would come home from work, and I would hear this sound coming from the
just
living
the
room.
clicking?
Clickety, click, 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 and I'm like, oh, he's doing an acoustic set.
That's very good. I think maybe the second most important title on this screen for my generation. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. I mean, this is... And the real ones know about Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga.
You thought you had a real one there, but then he walked away.
I'm talking into the camera.
Oh, we're talking to the camera. Okay, I thought you were pointing to the guy walking past him.
To everybody
He's not
out
making
there.
eye contact. I don't think you got him there.
I'm pointing to everybody out there who knows when I say Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga is an essential video game. Mass Effect. Huge.
Yeah.
And then, arguably, one of the other greatest video games of all time, Halo 3.
So here is my pushback. Here's my argument to GameStop, because can you really say that a system is retro if its games are still relevant? And so many of those games, I would argue, now I'm not one of the youth anymore, but I would argue that most of those games you could pick up and play today, and maybe the graphics are not cutting edge anymore, but
So you can't sprint in Halo 3. Calm down.
but the gameplay is still on point.
Yep.
The storytelling is still unrivaled. Those games are still relevant. They
Yep.
can't be retro.
Nope. I'm looking around here on the list, and I'm not seeing a single pixel art game. I'm not seeing a turn-based sprite game. I'm not seeing an 8-bit game. And that's retro. Mm-hmm. Are we getting into the era where 3D games are retro? I mean, the furthest I'll get you is like Mario, the first 3D Mario game. That's all I'll give you.
To be retro, that's like a nicely branded way of saying out of date, right?
Sure.
And I would argue that the world of video games has not made a massive quantum leap forward since these games started coming out. Ergo, they cannot be retro. Like, if you sit down and you play Battlefield today, if you play Valorant, it still feels, it's still functionally very much like playing any of the games on that list.
Yeah. I've played VR games that are supposedly the future of things that are way more forgettable than any of these games.
So I don't think you can call it retro yet.
I don't think you can.
Until gaming takes a massive
U.
quantum leap. Wii U is retro AF.
Wii U was outdated when it came out.
But also, to be retro, sorry, and I'm gonna throw another punch here.
Go.
Don't you have to at some point have been likable to be retro? Like, I have no nostalgia for Wii U.
Right. Somebody out there does. But
Find me that person in this room. This is a call for anyone out there in the room right now to step up to the microphone and justify to me why
we
you
just
are
had someone
nostalgic.
walk They didn't want to be associated with the Wii U.
Nope. Like, I gotta live in this town. I'm not touching that. Nobody's gonna.
No.
Nobody steps up and defends the Wii U right now. So the Wii U also cannot be retro because there's no nostalgia for it.
Sure.
It is unlikable. It was then, it is now. That hasn't changed.
And so is this declaration. Do it. Yep. Right over
So
there.
what we think of that. I was going to try to hit the camera, but my aim is terrible, so there we go. We have another copy of that declaration for later when we're going to need it, but good to know that we put them in their place.
We did.
As far as that goes.
I think we really showed them.
So anyway, this is an interactive show. We are here on the floor at the Wisconsin Esports Summit, and occasionally people are kind enough to come over and humor us and say hello. Hello, friend.
Howdy there. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Go
I'm
ahead and
doing-
sidle right up to that microphone if you can. What's your name?
Please. My name is Calico. Lovely to meet y'all.
Calico.
Lovely to meet you, too.
Lovely to meet you too. What brings you to the Wisconsin Esports Summit today?
So I'm here at the summit today because I am a graphic designer. Mostly, I've been working a lot in the esports space through fighting games, as a matter of fact. Fighting games are my bread and butter of choice. I've been doing it for about 3 years now, roughly about. I actually just worked with the folks who run Cream City Convergence last year, Magic 4. Great folks.
Outstanding.
And I had the amazing opportunity of being able to do all their like stream overlay stuff. So anytime you saw the player cards, the cam switch, booth. You have all those little commentator cards. That was all me. That was all my work. And so I'm here to kind of just talk about that a little bit and just like network with people and talk to people and be like, hey, if you have any openings or if you're looking for any work at all, please hire me. I'm here.
As I understand it, the Wisconsin Esports Summit is a great place for professional networking. For that, I'll throw it to my colleague, Matt Covarrubias.
Oh, yeah. I would say that it's a decent tool for that. I actually got my job doing what I'm doing right here.
Amazing.
3 years ago.
3 years ago to this day. Yeah.
So it's a special day for you then.
It is a special day. It's
in more ways than one.
In more ways than one. It's also my birthday.
Yes, it's your birthday, right? Happy birthday. I hope it's been going well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a great day.
It's nothing better than working on your birthday, right?
Well, I mean, when you're hanging out with gamers, is it really?
Matthew, do you know what I
work?
respect about you?
What is that?
You're not one of these adults that runs around saying, "It's my birthday, everybody, throw confetti for me, give me cupcakes."
Reposting all the people saying happy birthday.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing on your birthday? You're working. That's a work ethic right there.
I mean, it seems like you're having a good time. So are you really working now? You know.
He has to put up with me.
I'm not working.
Calico, art in video games and in esports.
Sure.
Some of the, and you mentioned that fighting games are your bread and butter. Some of the most beautiful art that I have seen in the video game world has come from fighting games, and particularly in the way that blood and guts and gore are rendered out on a screen. What are, would you say, your biggest influences as an artist when it comes to the world of video games?
Ooh, definitely when it comes to video games, it's actually a lot less fighting games than you would think, as a matter of fact. Like, sure, that's my specialty, but as of late, I have been infected by the visual design of Marathon, Bungie's new extraction shooter.
Yes!
I love it. Just the visual look of it, just it speaks to my little ADHD little monkey brain. It just latches on. Yep. I love it so much. I even saw like a post the other day that was just like, you know, half of Marathon's player base are just graphic designers anyway, and I felt like seen. I felt called out because like that's just me. But definitely Marathon right now for sure. More in the esports scene, I would say some bigger teams like Cloud9 for sure. I really love what FlyQuest has been doing as of late. FlyQuest stuff is always so gorgeous. A little bit of Bandits as well, who Mana RDB used to play for in Street Fighter 6. But I love it. I love it so much. All of it. There's so much influence all over the place if you know where to look, and I love it to death. It's amazing.
Marathon, I feel like, was a game that everybody had counted out before it had even come out.
I mean, it's a little tough for sure, considering they had the whole debacle with the little bit of the plagiarization aspects, which wasn't kosher, but they got it sorted, thank goodness.
Got it sorted out, but then recovered, and I think people are really discovering something special there and something inspiring in the aesthetic. I mean, there's such a sea of photoreal, gray, beige shooter slop out there.
Precisely. You can look around every corner and it's all real and realistic and photorealistic, which I guess fine. Resident Evil 9 looks incredible, but like I love a little style every now and again.
Yeah, and it's got to be inspiring to see something that is so different and so unique do as well as it is hopefully doing.
No, 100%, because that's, I mean, as an artist, that's what you're all about, is that uniqueness in that style and just making it work and making it pop and be there and be seen. So it's the coolest thing on earth, for sure.
Yeah.
So you're out here today doing some professional networking. If you were to describe the perfect gig that you could lock into going forward here, that's going to merge your love of art with your love of esports, video games, what does that look like?
Mostly, funnily enough, probably like visual design and also a little dabbling in like social media promotion. Because usually what I usually do like as my work, it's a lot of like logo work. One of my like bigger series of things that I've done for people is all like Twitter banners online, you know. They're fun little headers that display their name, a little bit of thing about them, you know, that sort of thing. I'm always just like really interested in how businesses like portray themselves and like how they look to the outside world. And even like ever since becoming a designer, I'm always looking at companies. I'm like, oh, that font looks cool. That shop like little logo looks cool. I literally have that font in my files right now. That sort of thing. And so being able to have those fresh eyes out there and being able to have that like recognition now as a designer has been really cool. So being able to have a gig where I'd be able to kind of do that would be incredible for sure.
Now I gotta ask, being a designer in 2026 has come with a unique challenge of the big boom of the AI industry.
That's
what has your experience been like with that and with companies talking about that?
Thankfully, I have not had any negative interaction with it myself. I've not really had to fight back on it, honestly, thank goodness. I think the AI sphere is hopefully a bubble that will pop, crossing my fingers, I just, morally, I'm not for it. But unfortunately, also as a designer and as a professional, I kind of have to know about it. Sure. I have to be educated just because that's what businesses are looking at, They're like, why would I hire you when I can just go ask, John in marketing over there, can you draft me up a design using AI, ChatGPT, whatever else. It's a little demoralizing for sure, but I'm also really enjoying the rise of people nowadays being like, oh, your business is using AI? Cool. I'm not going to use anything that you're doing, which I can appreciate for sure. And I'm glad that people are fighting back and that a lot of businesses and companies are seeing that, all right, we're out of it, we're out of the game. So it's been a time for sure, to put it politely.
Mm-hmm. But certainly I would say that there has been I think the pushback is beginning. I think the resistance is fomenting.
Oh, definitely.
And
I like that word.
You like that? Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I used it properly, but
feels good.
Calico, it's been really, really fun chatting with you. Thanks for stopping by the booth.
Thanks
here.
for having me on. Y'all are super awesome.
Appreciate
Keep at
you,
it.
man.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. And of course, throughout the afternoon, we're going to be talking to the panelists. We're going to be talking to the sponsors. We're going to be talking to participants in the Wisconsin Esports Summit, starting right now with, from Tri-City National Bank, Chief Brand Officer Nicholas Bandoch.
Right.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Tri-City National Bank, of course, is a community bank that has operated in southeast Wisconsin for more than 60 years, has now amassed more than 24 locations across the region, with a reputation for being our hometown bank, and today also a sponsor of this podcast. So Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Great to have you on the show. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your background and your role at Tri-City National Bank?
Yeah, so I've been in Milwaukee marketing roles for about 20 years. I can't believe it's that long. Makes me feel a little bit old, but 20 years in Milwaukee. Started at the Journal Sentinel. Was at Sendix for a while, and I've been 8 years at Tri-City National Bank leading the marketing. And as we started to do more digital communication during that time, a lot of what we were doing was a caller come into the branch, which is great for a lot of people. And what we realized is that a lot of our marketing needed better calls to action. We need to serve people in that digital space. So marketing kind of transitioned into digital banking, and now wearing kind of both of those hats for marketing and then everything related to our brand and the digital experience, which led us here today talking to you guys about it.
I was going to say, what made you want to get involved in the esports scene? Was that just one more way to connect with people? Or
yeah, I think, you mentioned your hometown bank, and I think we want to be where our customers are. And we've had some long-standing partnerships in the community. We've been a zoo sponsor for 30 years. Great place where families and people get together. We've been building homes and repairing homes with Revitalize Milwaukee for 20 years. Been a partner of China Lights for the last 8 years, a great community event down in Bernard Botanical Gardens. So if you think about places where people gather, especially for this with a younger demographic, where we can maybe meet some new customers and hope to earn their trust, I think it's a pretty cool place to be.
And as you can see, as you look around and you hear all the excitement here, gaming appeals to a wide generation, a wide group of people spanning multiple generations, but those who grew up with modern video games and smartphones are really digital natives, as we like to call them, are at an age where they've got bank accounts now. I've got a bank account now, and we need to move money around or track spending so we can save up for a loan payment or GTA 6. And with all that in mind, what features have you all been developing to bring banking to this generation?
Yeah, a really good question. I think there's a transition. So I'm an English major, and I think about it very simply that bank used to be a noun and it's a verb really for those digital natives, right? So you don't go to the bank, you do your banking. And so it's about having the tools and resources that they need wherever they might be. So if they're in that digital space, some things we've done, in the last couple of years was get a P2P payment, into our app with Zelle, make it really easy to make those purchases. An easy click to add your card to your Apple Wallet. Again, simple things. And then things like credit score, I think really empowering people with their own data. Your credit score has a big impact on your financial life. And so the sooner you're aware of that and how it impacts you, you can make really good financial decisions. More recently, we did a new app in November. There's a lot of things around account aggregation, putting all of your bank accounts in one place so you can see a full financial picture, track your spending, and be really intentional with where you want to go with your financial life. So I think it's finding those tools and meeting those digital natives in that digital place. I think that's something where we have to deliver in all the channels to keep earning people's trust.
At the same time, with a reputation for being the hometown bank, as you're getting out into that digital frontier, how do you maintain that hometown feel while at the same time being digital, being everywhere, being with people through all steps of their financial lives?
Yeah, really good question. I think it probably comes down to data and listening to. They're still telling you the things they used to do when they came into the branch. They just do it a different way. So, 20 years ago, if you had to come cash your paycheck every Friday, you'd make small talk with the teller. They'd say, "What are you working on?" "I got to repair my house." And that might lead to a home equity loan or something, and it happened, right? And so now it just happens differently. So your bank has a lot of data on you and how you transact and what you might need. So to give a simple answer, stick with that home equity example. If you have equity in your home and we see that you're spending a lot of money at a big box home repair store, sometimes 2 or 3 times in one day. We've all had that project. Yeah. You might be someone that would benefit from a home equity loan. Or if you've got a lot of spending categorized as travel, it's a great candidate for a travel credit card. Let's get some points. Let's get you some lost baggage protection. Travel insurance is all baked in. So again, I think you're telling your bank how you prefer to transact and where you spend your money. You just don't do it directly, you do it through data. And I think it's our job then to use that data to deliver you the right services, tools, products, resources that you need. So same idea, just in a little bit different form.
Yeah, and so you've got a lot of exciting stuff coming right now. What can customers look forward to coming down the line in the near future?
Yeah, we just, a couple weeks ago, we just put a partnership with Greenlight, the debit app for debit card for kids. Just bake that into our Tri-City app, so really seamless experience. There's a couple things with our credit card that still might require you to go to their website or their app. Again, we're trying to bake that into so you have just one app. Nobody needs one more place to sign in. And there's a lot around financial wellness and money movement, things to categorize your spending, things to do. We talked about saving up before. So maybe you don't want to open up another savings account to save up for GTA 6 or something else, right? You can make a digital envelope and say, hey, I'm going to save up $100 for this thing or $1,000 for that. No new account needed. It's a virtual envelope. You move some money virtually from your savings account to there and it helps you keep on track with your financial wellness. So a lot of things just to help you organize, categorize, and make really good financial decisions.
I like that notion of a digital envelope, and I like that notion of a debit card for kids as well. Speaking as a dad myself, I got 3 little ones at home. Trying to teach them how to put this nicely, as stingy and as cheap as I am.
Spoken like a dad.
In an era of digital currency, it's tougher than it used to be, because it used to be you've got a piggy bank, everything they own is in that piggy bank, and you say, well, you really want that new Lego set because it's going to cost you all of this here in your piggy bank. What do you do now?
Yeah, I think the way that debit card works is really interesting. You can, if the kids want to use the app, right, they can say, Dad, I did the chore. You can determine if that chore was indeed done or not. You can fund their card. You can set limits. You can set limits on where they spend, how much they spend, try to encourage them to make good decisions. But you're right, some of that currency is digital or in a hard, intangible way, and kids have to learn how to navigate that as well. So I think teaching them early and getting them to understand the idea of the value of money, whether it's in their piggy bank or in their virtual wallet, really important. Builds good financial habits.
Well, it's really cool stuff. If we want to learn more, where do we go to find out more about Tri-City National Bank?
We're at tcnb.com, or all your social and app store is Tri-City National Bank. 4 words, TRI, Tri-City National Bank. That's where you can find us.
All right, last question then, because this has been breaking news all day here that we have been talking about. But according to GameStop, a whole bunch of consoles and games that Matt played as a kid, that I played as an adult, are now officially retro.
Retro, huh?
So without getting personally offended by that, like I have, we wanted to ask you, what is your retro go-to game? What is your comfort game that you play from back in the day that you can sit down and pick up right where you left off?
Yeah, the retro I would fit that box, so I'm with you. I would say a deep cut from the NES library would be River City Ransom, a fighting game me and my brother used to play all the time. I think it's based on a Japanese game, but I could pick that up and probably still remember all the secret, where to buy the best food and what stores and how to get the brass knuckles and do some fighting virtually.
Older brother or younger brother?
Younger brother.
Okay, did you ever let him win?
It was you played together, so that was probably the thing that the parents
mode.
love. You're fighting the bad guys together, so that builds some brotherly bond right there.
That's what you like to hear. Well, Nick Bandoch from Tri-City National Bank, thank you so much for joining us here on the Official Event Podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Appreciate you, man. So moving right along, Matthew, established in 1968 in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, we're going to be talking about Spectrum Industries. The company that would become Spectrum Industries, of course, has been around for 55 years, a little more, actually, and has been designing and manufacturing furniture and accessories for spaces like classrooms, computer labs, sports team rooms, but now they're starting to get into an area that's really interesting and relevant to us, esports setups and podcasting setups. Pretty excited about that. Mykiah Bonham is the esports product specialist at Spectrum Industries, was on our show last year as well at the Wisconsin Esports Summit, but Spectrum Industries is also a presenting sponsor for the podcast this year and manufactured the very desk that we're sitting at right now. So a lot to talk about there, but Mykiah, thank you for joining us here.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. I had a little bit of flight troubles coming in.
Oh, no.
Because it was storming. I'm based out of Maryland, so it was storming on my end, and then there was also the blizzard that just hit here. So it was just, I got in just about like an hour or two ago, and it was, it's been an interesting past 24 hours. I'll say that.
Glad you made it, man. And I gotta say this, I knew that we were going to be talking about Blizzard today, but I didn't think that it would be in the context that. You see what I did there?
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Keep him coming.
He's not even going to want to walk out of here with me. He's not going to want to be seen in public with me. As mentioned in the intro, we're sitting at one of Spectrum Furniture's pieces right now. Tell us about this project, the podcast desk. How did we get here?
Yeah, so last year at our national sales meeting, we had a meeting where we were basically talking about new products that we want to delve into. And one of the areas that was brought up was, we're delving more into audiovisual production, and podcasting came up because now with so many podcasts coming up where, like the Joe Rogan Experience or I think like I saw an article with like Midas Touch, even though like they're political, but like they're one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Like it's now in a new and emerging market, and we wanted to make a product for it because we already have delved into that audiovisual area, and so we thought that this could be something that we could test out. So this is actually our new prototype that we have. We're still working out the kinks and things like that, but we wanted to make something that was simple but also met the needs as well, because we know that if you look at any podcast on YouTube, like a podcast setup can look in many different ways. So we didn't want to try to focus so much on like solving all the problems. We wanted to focus on doing what we do best, which is our cable management and having help solve some of those solutions that the end user is looking for. And we thought we implemented those into the product, and I would say that it's turned out pretty well so far.
I love the darn thing. And again, you guys have done a great job designing it, but one of my favorite emails that I've gotten in the past year was when Julie reached out to me after last year's Esports Summit and said, "So you're the podcast guy. We're cooking something up. Can you give us a little bit of feedback on this design?" And I said, "Oh, Julie, I got ideas for days." And so I've spent so much time over the last year going back and forth with the design team. But it's really cool to get to see some of those ideas come to fruition here. But tell me more about the cable management. That is key, because speaking as a podcaster myself, if you've got a cluttered up workspace with cables running every which way, you've got a little bit of a problem on your hands. So you guys have found a great fix for that.
Yeah, so we actually have the cable tray right here in the middle. This is actually our solution that we do for when people are having setups where you want the products or the accessories are going all over. So we actually thought about putting the cable channel in the middle instead of putting it on like the end where we would normally do in our traditional setups, because we wanted to make sure that all the cables were being hidden in a place where it looks nice and neat, but also to where like if you wouldn't want the cable channel on one side, because if you were setting up on like the left side but the cable channel's on the right side, you got to go all the way across the table, and sometimes cords ain't that long. So we thought about having that, and I think that it's turned out pretty well. I'm excited to see some of the implementations for it, and Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. I mean, I'm looking at how you guys set it up, and this is interesting because like you've got the audio mixer here, and like you've got all of these cables. I can see it right in front of me going through, and yeah, it's a very interesting setup. I never thought of looking at it from like the audio mixer being like on the table and things like that. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
It was fun for me as we were getting set up here to do the Esports Summit. I could kind of hear your team across the way, and one of them said, he turned it the wrong way. and that is the beautiful part about this dyad here is you guys design it, and then we come in and we use it in ways that you didn't expect.
Exactly. But that's good. That's why we're showing it off, and we're trying to use it, and having people like you who are experts in the podcasting area be able to help us, because, you know, we're all in this together. You know, you guys had the ideas and the implementation of knowing how it's going to be used, and, you know, it's our job to be on the engineering side and make it into what it is. So
one other cool feature that I'll call out, and then we should talk about something other than a table, probably, but the flying V configuration, where the table is wider at that end than it's thinner on this end right here, opens up our guests so that we're seated in a staggered way so that everybody can be seen by the camera, so nobody's blocking anybody else up. We're open up to the camera right there, and I'm super pumped for it.
Oh, I didn't even notice the camera right there. You just showing up.
That's the wide shot. That's the wide shot right there. Wave at the camera.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like, I would have been waving to the camera and like looking at the camera more and everything.
No, that's all right. You got one over there too.
Well, there you go. now I've got like 4 places to look.
Welcome to the show, Mykiah. Here we go.
You can tell I do podcasts a lot.
Well, I was curious to touch on the table one last time. That process sounded really collaborative and really cool between the two of you guys, and well, Dusty and your team over at Spectrum Industries. How reflective is that collaborative process of your design philosophy overall?
I think that it really goes to show that when we're delving into a product or we're delving into a new field, we want to make sure that we're being authentic. And speaking from the esports area, there are so many people have come to us and been like, hey, a lot of other companies make esports products, but their stuff is more of they're just taking their traditional classroom furniture, slapping a logo on it, and then calling it an esports desk. Whereas you guys have actually built a product that really thinks about how someone is going to use a PC. Are they going to put the PC on top? Or are they going to put in a CPU sling? Like, we think about all of those different considerations, and people are really appreciative of how we are able to implement our product. And I think that a big part of the process that helps us is that collaboration, being able to work with some of our different partners or some of the different people that we know who we're able to go and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this product? How are we going to be implementing this? I think that, to me, it really just shows that authenticity that we have. And that, to me, is what I think is very important. Not only building a product that is good, sustainable, great cable management, but also being authentic with it as well.
Well, and I'll say one more thing in that vein, Mykiah, because I know that you have a background in esports management yourself.
I do.
Studied that back in the day. I remember that from last year. And so you know a thing or two about esports, and if somebody shows up in the esports space and gets labeled as inauthentic or a poser, do they still say noob? If they get labeled as a noob?
Not too much. Not on the EDU side.
I think noob left us pre-2015, maybe.
Dating myself for the 10th time today. But if you show up and you get a reputation for being someone who's just trying to swoop into the space to make a buck, that's going to damage you in the long term.
Yeah, it is very easy to tell. There are a lot of people who come into the space, and how I always know what their space is like when you have a conversation with them and can they tell the difference between esports and gaming. There are so many people that come up to me and I've had conversations with them and they're like, oh yeah, esports is like a $400 billion industry and it's great, it's growing. And I'm like, no. Gaming is a $400 billion industry. Esports is probably, I think it's a little inflated, but around 2 billion, I think the number is that they're floating right now, which is less than 1% of the entirety of gaming as a whole. Now, do I think esports has a lot of area to grow? Yes. Do I think that it has a space for it to sit in education? Absolutely. But there are so many times where I feel like people are getting into the space and thinking, one, they're thinking mostly about the dollar signs than the actual physical students that are in the classrooms. But I think they're also thinking about the spectacle of esports, trying to, I guess, quote unquote, live out their glory days of being like, you know, I never had this in my high school, so I'd love to be able to take my students to win a Valorant championship. And there's nothing wrong with those aspirations. But I always just, when I have those conversations, I just want to make sure that they are thinking about like the students first and coming into this space and being like, hey, especially right now with like the funding issues and things that are going on in the specifically on the EDU side of esports, there are a lot of struggles. And if you're not in this space to be authentic, if you're here to kind of just beat the spectacle or get a quick buck, like it's going to be very, very hard. It's not easy to stay within the esports side. And that could be from a seller's viewpoint or from some of the directors I've talked with as well.
Totally. And now pivoting to the other aspect of esports here, not just the furniture and the equipment that we need, the games.
Yeah.
As a Destiny 2 player with more hours than I'd care to admit on the internet, I know all too well how the raids in that game legitimately improve communication, coordination, and problem-solving skills. So my question to you is, what about gaming do you think has made you better at your job? And what about your job do you think has made you any better at gaming?
Okay, so first I want to go in and say that I also, not recently, I've gotten back into Overwatch, but I would say probably about a year ago, my friends and I were playing Destiny 2 very heavy. We got back into it, and it was a lot of fun. I've very much enjoyed my time, and I always say that I am a, what's the game mode where I forget what it's called? None of the Destiny 2 people like it, but my friends and I love it. It's the
Gambit?
game mode. Gambit. I love Gambit. I love Gambit. I'm a Gambit stan. I am, and I'm happy to be one. But anyways, as far as how gaming has helped me in my job, I would say that to me, it's where gaming specifically helped be an avenue for me for learning. So I've always been a good student. Like very luckily, I'm good at taking tests. So when it came to like K-12, like I was able to, take my classes, not study very much. But when I went to college, it got a little bit more difficult because, I was taking business classes like accounting and things like that, which are a little bit more difficult. But gaming always served as a North Star for me of like, when I decided that I wanted to study esports at Shenandoah, I always knew that no matter what struggles I was going through, no matter what frustrations I had, that I had the possibility to work in the gaming industry. That was such a really great North Star for me to have. It was such an amazing experience for me to be able to study that and be around people who had that in esports. Now, I would say specifically about some of the skill sets that I learned, I always say it to where it's not necessarily about learning about esports specifically or gaming specifically. It's about using gaming as an avenue for those transferable skills. So for me specifically, I learned a lot about like business development, event management, some of those traditional skills that you want to learn, but I learned it through esports. So for example, when I was in college, I learned about different sales through ticketing because I worked Esports Engine and I worked with some of their Halo Championship Series events. I went to Seattle, Orlando, and North Carolina, and it was such an amazing experience for me because not only did I get to talk to people who are working in the event management space, I also got to work. We basically, like, my whole like group of students, we pretty much ran the front of house ticketing booth. Like they trusted us because we were very good. I'll say it, we were very good students, but we pretty much ran the front of house. So I had to deal with so many different things, like how to solve a problem when someone comes up and they're like, hey, like, my ticket is messing up, or my ticket's like this, like finding some of those different solutions for people, or being able to help solve people's questions who, if they came up and they're like, hey, like we're looking for like this event, or we're looking for this booth, or we're looking for this experience, or things like that. Like there were a lot of things that subconsciously, like I'm not actively thinking about those skills, but I know that all of those skills were laying the foundation of where I am in my role now, where, to me, like working the front of house ticketing booth, I can see how it could transfer to being at trade shows and having to talk to teachers and be like, hey, this is what esports is, this is why you should invest in it, and yeah, the list goes on.
Speaking of your role now, esports product specialist. There aren't a lot of esports product specialists out in the world.
I have not met another one yet.
So as a foremost expert in what an esports product specialist does, we wanted to check back in on you on how the last year has gone for you. You're based out east, you said, but you travel all over the world. Where have you been? What have you done? What have you seen? And what's been the coolest moment you've had in the last year?
Wow, that's a hard question. I would say for me, in my role specifically, it's evolved a lot more into me having more autonomy within my space. So like my boss, Scott, he's an amazing boss. And I feel like the first kind of year was more of me learning the ropes and getting used to the industry. Now, and then my second year was, I started to get a little bit more leadership. And now I'm a little over 2.5 years, about to enter my third year at Spectrum. And I think that now I'm starting to get to the point to where they're really starting to trust me and be like, hey, like Mykiah is really good. He does great work. Like, let's give him this project and let him run with it. And it's really nice to be in that position, to be able to have that autonomy, to be able to have my vision of what I think a project should do, where I think it should go, and be able to see it through and work through it. It's been really, really awesome. So I would say that has been specifically about the work. That's been something that I've been really enjoying lately. As far as where I've traveled, I think that oh man, I've traveled to, I only travel domestically, but I would say like some of the favorite cities I've been to is Denver. Denver really surprised me. That was a really nice city. I actually went to Palm Springs, California. That area is pretty nice. We were also up in Moreno Valley. We work very closely with Moreno Valley School District, and that area was very nice. And seeing their students, like they're way ahead of the curve when it comes to like K-12 esports. And I think that for me, I'm trying to think of like an event specifically or a moment, and it's really hard because I would say that for me, the moments that matter to me are like seeing students who, like, you can tell like they're a little bit quieter, they're a little bit more reserved to themselves, but when you put a Super Smash Brothers thing up, like they're always like, oh, come on guys, let's play, like let's go, they're playing against each other, they're talking trash, they're communicating with one another, and those moments are really, really just always awesome for me to see. And it's something that I always appreciate. So, unfortunately, I wish I had a better answer.
I think that's a great answer, man.
I wish when people ask me things, I like to be like, if they ask me for one thing, I'm like, I want to give them like one answer, but I just can't. Like I mean, I'm always gone and I'm doing so many things, but that's something that always warms my heart.
It's all about the kids at the end of the day. It's all about the kids. Well, good stuff. If people want to learn more about Spectrum and what you all have got cooking up right now, where can they go to learn more about you?
So we actually just launched a new website recently. I can't use the words that I was thinking about in my head right now, but let's say our website was a little bit outdated. And we recently got a new update to our website, and it is very exciting because on our website, you can actually go in and do 3D modeling on the website. So you can go in and be like, hey, if I want to build out an esports desk, how would it look with my company or my school's logo on it? How could it look if I wanted it with like black, but then also have like the red accents? And so that's a feature I highly recommend. And I think that our website's a lot more organized now. So if you're looking to, let's say you're trying to build an esports room, you can go on our website now and it's very easy to see. You can see like, oh, there's esports right there. Oh, there's esports seating. There's esports desks. There's esports shoutcasting. What is that? Like it's able to answer a lot of those questions and just be able to play around. So I definitely recommend that. If you are looking, it's spectrumfurniture.com. I was about to spell that all out, but then I realized, see, this is where the esports major comes in.
We'll figure it out.
That's where the esports major comes in. I was like, hold on, I don't know if I can spell all that.
Well, good stuff. We do have one question that we've been asking everybody today.
Yes.
And as a response to the news that GameStop has officially declared that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are now retro, quote unquote, we want to ask you, what is your favorite retro game?
Oh man, since PlayStation, man. See, I was about to say.
you can go further.
I was about to say
I would
I'm getting
urge
old.
you to go further back than that.
I feel bad because I was about to say I'm getting old, but then I'm 24, so I feel bad to say that. So my favorite retro game that I actually played growing up would probably be Ratchet & Clank 3 Up Your Arsenal. That's probably my favorite. Either that or Dynasty Warriors 6. Those were like my gems growing up. But I would say my favorite retro game that I played as an adult is probably Devil May Cry 3. That game is really, really good. During COVID, there were two franchises I picked up, Yakuza and Devil May Cry. Those are the two games I picked up, or franchises that I picked up during COVID. And like Devil May Cry 3, like that game is really a lot of fun. And I think like the combat and a lot of it just holds up really even to this day.
Really uplifting choices, especially during COVID there.
Yes.
Well, Mykiah Bonham, esports product specialist at Spectrum Industries, thank you for this sweet podcast desk, and thank you for joining us here on the official event podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on to our next guest now, Kenneth Kressina is the esports coordinator at UW Green Bay. He got his master's in sports management from Illinois State University and a bachelor's in communication from the
Correct.
Ohio State University.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm a Badger, so I am obligated to at least talk a little bit of smack. He works with college esports news. Nobody's perfect, so you're a Buckeye.
Yeah.
I'll try not to hold it against you. Because you work with college esports news to host the podcast Torchbearers, a collegiate esports conversation podcast. You've worked in broadcast and production, and even Nintendo, commentating and recording content for the official Splatoon 3 North American League, and you now hold the title of esports coordinator at UW Green Bay. Kenneth, thanks for being on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Now, I think the question that comes most naturally is, what does an esports coordinator do, and how did you get that gig?
Sure. So the way I describe it at first is I am, in essence, a head coach for 9 teams, and that is a third of my job.
Okay.
So not quite, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
There are some days where I am actively coaching, but I don't get to do a lot of the actual things that a normal coach would do, because I am also the facility manager for our esports lounge. I am also the one that's hosting events or trying to encourage students to host events in the space. I am also the one that's working with our broadcast and production team to start doing the live streams for our matches and things like that. I am also the one that sits down with every student to have a 30-minute conversation at some point in the semester, almost like an advisor would, to check in on classes and make sure they're on track to graduate their degree, right? So the job is a lot of different things, and I think the job is basically know a little about a lot of different areas of the esports world, right? Facility management, broadcast, social media, marketing, events, competitions, and coaching and competitive, right? And so I think that's where some of my previous experience, not only as a student, where I was the president of the gaming club at the Ohio State University. That's right. Had to get that in there.
Put a trademark right on the "the."
Yep. I got to learn a lot about a little, and I learned that I enjoyed working with students. I enjoyed working with my peers, right? And being in that mentor-mentee relationship was very valuable to me. And so I started setting myself up basically for this kind of role, decided the master's was the best way to go about it, and here I am now, went where the job was.
It's really exciting to see, and we love to see this start to filter down to some of the schools, especially throughout the state of Wisconsin here. As someone who's worked on the national scene in esports, how would you say the development of Wisconsin's esports scene has come along, and where would you like to see it go in the future?
Sure. So I can mostly talk about collegiate here because, I'll be honest, I'm not as familiar with the greater ecosystem, right? I've only been here for 2 years now or so. But on the collegiate side, I think we actually do a really nice job with a lot of the work that the Milwaukee Esports Alliance and the Wisconsin Esports Conference have done to provide those students in-person LAN opportunities. That's something that not a lot of programs get to do. And I get to say, I go to 4 LANs a year on a budget of $3,000. That is unheard of, right? And it's a really great opportunity for our students to get that in-person community, get out into meeting other students from other schools, right, and get a broader sense of what it means to be in this state and playing a competitive title for a school, because it looks different from institution to institution. And I think they have a lot to learn from each other and enjoy being in that environment they don't often get to, because most of the time we're just online behind computer screens, right? So having that in-person experience in the state collegiate league is huge, I think, for our students, something we look forward to, and something I think really is not often seen in a lot of other cases across the national level. I think there are other states that are seeing some of what Wisconsin's doing, some of what, other states are doing, and going, hey, wait a minute, we could do that. Like, I know the Texas group just started doing their own state league. I've heard talks back in Ohio that they're thinking about doing their own state collegiate league and getting that up off the ground. So there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I think this is one of those main areas where we have a pretty thriving ecosystem on the collegiate side here, and it's real nice to be a part of.
Now, when planning an esports event, there's not necessarily a handbook for this. Maybe you're writing one.
Hopefully.
How much of your planning is for things that you do want to happen, and how much of your planning is for things you don't want to happen?
So the next question is, how much of a plan at all do you write? Because no event ever goes according to plan, right? Sure. As I'm sure I might have messed up your all plan right today, right, in the interview order.
It's a living document.
Right, exactly. But that's the point, right? It's a living event. The event continues to come together, and the important part is just creating that experience of the event. And a lot of times in my experience from hosting like Splatoon events, let's say, a lot of those folks are just going on vacation. They want to go play. They're not professional Splatoon players. That doesn't exist, really, right? They're just going for fun. They're going to meet people, and they're going to have a good time because they're around people that they don't often get to talk to, right? They're coming from all across the country to be here for that event. And as long as you can provide the venue for them to come together and have a good time together, they will, almost regardless of how poorly the event runs, right? But I think when things start to go south during an event, it's constant communication all around that helps get things moving and can really help you stabilize things, help build those relationships, and build trust to your attendees.
Now, I have to ask, because you mentioned Splatoon there, your roots are in Splatoon.
Yes.
I love Splatoon 3. What theme for a Splatfest do you think they should do that they haven't yet?
This one's hard for me. Because I'll admit, as much as my roots are in Splatoon, I haven't played a lot as of late. So I actually had to pull up the list of what are the past Splatfest they've done and gone back and looked through. Because I don't often get to play those. It's the good old, the more time you spend working in esports, the less time you spend actually playing the games. That's true for me. But the one thing that I'm kind of surprised they haven't done, so they did a which chocolate do you like more? White chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate. But I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't done a broader candy one. Like chocolate, caramel, fruit flavored, right? Or something.
Seems like a missed opportunity.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think I'd like to see.
Gotcha. Sort of a sweet off.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well,
so which one would it be?
So what? Give me the categories again.
Candy of choice.
Okay.
A chocolate.
Yep.
A caramel, or a fruit flavored.
Is it like a sour fruit?
Sure.
I'm sour candy all the way.
Okay.
Listen, Kenneth, if somebody wants to get in touch, learn more about the organization, get involved, support what you do, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I'm on X, formerly Twitter, kbot_273. I try to tweet, but I'm not over there very regularly. I'm on LinkedIn. If there's questions about UW Green Bay's esports program, esports@uwgb.edu is a great place to start. That email inbox is basically my email inbox, so I'll probably end up seeing it. And other than that, feel free to reach out to Discord. I'm here to help answer any questions or provide guidance or try to use some of my experience, because we're all learning together to build this whole thing. There is no guidebook for the challenges that we face on a daily basis, so more than happy to help be a resource where I can.
It's really cool to see the way that people in this business are so willing to just help each other out, to offer expertise, advice, and help them just kind of get by as we're all sort of building the tracks as we drive the train. And so cool to hear. One last question that we have to ask then, because we've been asking everybody today, in a completely avaricious statement put out yesterday, the terrible people at GameStop have declared that Xbox 360 and PS3 are retro consoles. So in that spirit, we have to ask you, what is your go-to retro game? Defining retro however you want.
Yeah, okay, so true retro, I will go for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That was a fun one.
Solid.
How However, for something that was actually a part of my childhood and my personal favorite game, I would go for Super Mario Galaxy. And that might scare some folks about how young I may or may not be, but that's really exciting. I'm excited for the movie and everything too. So it'll be a good reliving that childhood nostalgia, hopefully, coming through with that. That was one of my favorite games because I was also a space nerd. I thought I was originally going to do astronomy, actually. But now I'm here.
You seem to have found a good spot where things cross over there. A good gooey middle to that Venn diagram.
Yes.
Well, Kenneth Kressina, the esports coordinator for EW Green Bay, thank you so much for joining us on the official Wisconsin Esports Summit podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
Moving on to our next guest now, Nima Asgari is the owner and innovator at Olympus Gaming Lounge. Olympus Gaming Lounge is Kentucky's first and only full-scale esports and video gaming hub. The lounge boasts a dynamic, immersive space that's welcoming to enthusiasts of all levels, whether that be competitive esports on high-end setups or connecting over casual gaming session on consoles. The lounge also hosts celebrity events, tournaments, and more. And we are lucky enough to be joined by the owner, Nima. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for making
Appreciate
time.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Very excited.
Now, you have a really cool story of how the Olympus Gaming Lounge got started. Do you mind telling us a bit of that story and how this all came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do real estate and business development consulting. That's my day-to-day job. I have a small consulting firm with 3 employees plus myself. And basically, I get hired by investors to come up with creative business ideas for them. And I've done that on a few different occasions, but someone hired me for this building that they were looking at, and they were like, Nima, what kind of business do I put in here? And I was like, well, let's run the report. So I ran the reports. I gave him the reports. At the top of that list was a gaming lounge. And he was like, what the heck is a gaming lounge? So he's 53. I had to explain to him what a gaming lounge is, the concept, how it works. And he was a little hesitant. So I was like, you know what? If you're interested in this, I'll do it with you 50-50. I'll come in as a partner, and we could do it together. So once I got the
You just wanted to see it that bad?
Yeah.
You just thought it was that good an idea?
Absolutely.
And you were willing to put your own skin in the game?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's usually, put your money where your mouth is, right? So I was like, all right, we'll do it.
Is that the first time that you've ever partnered up with a client on something like this?
With my own money, yes. I build creative businesses for someone else. I built this place for him. It was a pet resort. We took an old boxing gym, converted it into a pet resort, came up with design, concept, and everything, and then just basically turnkeyed it. My dad has a construction company, general contracting business, so we could do that as well if need be. I have my general contractor's license, so I'll dabble in that aspect as well. So I know I'm very good with numbers when it comes to real estate and how much investment you'll need. Usually I come off anywhere within $500 to $1,000 off of what I think it'll be, and that's just doing different projects, whether residential or commercial, and niching down the market. So yeah, came up with it. He was hesitant. We settled on the gaming lounge, but he ended up backing out the last day. He dropped the project, and at this point, I had been working on it for a year and a half, securing partnerships, pricing different things, meeting all the guys that we see here, talking to them, and he dropped it. He paid my fair share of doing that 1.5 years as the consulting fee, but his hotel wasn't selling, so it wasn't personal, so he just dropped it. And a month and a half goes by, and I'm still thinking about it, and I'm like, I wonder if I could get the financing myself, because his main contribution was the financing. Obviously, he's a lot more established, has a lot more business than I do, and anyway, I decided to move forward with it myself. Went to 10 different banks. 9 of them said no before the final one said yes. Pitched them on this idea. If you guys aren't familiar with banks hate financing something they don't have comps on.
Yeah, if they don't understand it, they don't want to touch it.
Exactly. It is on sale right now. I think I'm fairly religious, so I think it was God calling for it to be pulled off the way it was, and it was pulled off, and they financed me. So here we are.
Wow. Crazy story. And now that it's a thing, we think about gaming as such an online thing now. Tell us about those magic moments that can only happen when people play together in person.
Yeah. So everything moves in cycles. So I am a firm believer we're on an 80 cycle due here very soon. I think as more people get into the online space and they immerse themselves with AI and online and gaming online, people are going to want that human interaction that we as animals desperately need. It's part of our fundamental growth. So the reason why I put that space is to provide people a safe, fun environment, third space that they could go to, they could interact with each other and have fun. We've already seen a lot of magical moments. The other day, there was 3 different kids. None of them knew each other. They're sitting right next to each other. They're playing the games. And our staff, including myself, are trained to get those moments and get those people interacting with each other.
Just kind of give them a little nudge.
Exactly. Because kids don't know. Adults do, but and some adults also need that nudge as well. And we could get into that. But we just went and we're like, hey, why don't y'all play Rocket League together? And just try it out. So we got them on a 3v3 Rocket League. They ended up becoming friends. And sure enough, at the end, they're getting each other's contact information to click again. Another moment, I had a professional Fortnite player named Chubbs. Shout out Chubbs if you see this. He came in and he's 11 and he loves gaming. That's his thing. That's his passion. His dad was super passionate about it. Chubbs Sr. Shout out to him as well. And a week he left. Obviously had fun. Left. A week later, somebody else who wants to get their kid in streaming and gaming, they came to us as well. Same concept. Same similarity, just a different family. And I immediately put them in touch with each other. Now Chubbs and this kid have been playing online together because Chubbs lives in Tennessee. But when Chubbs is in Louisville, they're going to link up at the lounge and play together. So we just formulated a friendship out of just gaming. And I feel like, in the States at least, there's an educational component to where we have to educate parents and people that don't understand gaming of the benefits that gaming encompasses. So,
Yeah. You've been doing this for a while now. I'd imagine that you've learned a lot from the people who come to your business, but also about the intricacies of running a business. I mean, like you said, there's no comps for what you do. The banks don't know what you do, and so a lot of it you're just kind of making up as you go along. So now you're here in Milwaukee. What can we learn from you here in this snow-caked, blizzardy wasteland?
Yeah, my favorite. I was just talking to a gentleman who's opening one up in the Chicago area about this right before this podcast. So with this, the thing I stress the most, and I was talking about it on the panel that I was just a part of, is know your why and know it real well. Know your mission and know it real well. We at Olympus are practically married to our mission. Our mission is to serve Kentucky in gaming, education, and entertainment. So everything we do, we have a 6-person team, including myself. Everything we do on a daily basis needs to be aligned with that mission. And it's a good way of grounding us and making sure we're all working towards the same thing on a daily basis, without perhaps even needing to talk about that every single day, right? Because we know what we're doing needs to contribute to that in some capacity. So for anybody trying to open up a lounge, I think have a roadmap of what it is that you're trying to really accomplish with it. With our mission, like I said, we're there to serve Kentucky in gaming, education, and entertainment, and we do that by providing a fun, safe third space, not only for young adults, but also kids and older adults and middle-aged adults and millennials and so forth. So I think that's like the core piece. That's the core component to any business, really. And one thing I've seen being in the business development space is the people that are married to their mission oftentimes are the businesses that succeed. Because the statistic is, we all know the statistic, 80% of businesses fail within their first year. We're 10 months in. I'm not telling you everything's been perfect, because it hasn't, but we don't have any plans of shutting down anytime soon. So that's the way I see it.
And you mentioned education there. I understand that you have STEM programs available. Walk us through those.
Yeah, so STEM it was not part of, we didn't expect to develop a STEM program. We were trying to serve Kentucky in the educational component by educating people on gaming and the benefits that gaming has and the opportunities that are available, but STEM was not in the original picture. Then we started really doing what we were preaching, and we started getting people, hey, do you have STEM? Do you have STEM? Do you have STEM? I actually have my major from University of Louisville in biology. I'm a biology major with business management with focus in franchising and real estate development. So when I heard STEM, I was like, oh crap, I could finally make my biology use come before tuition. And I'm passionate about the youth and providing them opportunities. And basically what we ended up doing is we ended up developing our own STEM curriculum where we designed it, me and my team members. And it's continuing to evolve and develop. It's not a fully set, this is the product, but we leverage gaming and use it as a reward-based system to get the educational components across. So kids need reward systems. Adults have reward systems built in place for themselves. They just don't realize it. How many times we're like, if I do this or if I get that done, I'm going to go out or I'm going to go eat here or I'm going to do this. That's a reward system that we have built in. Kids don't really have that. So if you give them a reward system, they're a lot more inclined to listen and do what it is that you're trying to teach them and be able to participate and improve on a daily basis because they know their reward is coming. And if they act up, then it gets pulled away. It's a privilege. Just like if I don't come here today, I can't go play soccer tomorrow. Same exact thing. Mm-hmm. So
now you mentioned that your business background as well. Mm-hmm. You studied a little bit about franchising. Mm-hmm. Currently, you only have one location of Olympus Gaming Lounge. But as you look to the future of the organization down the line here, is that something that's on the horizon? And what are your long-term goals for it?
Yeah, well, franchising is always in the back of my head. I had a great professor at University of Louisville named Dr. Gosher. She helped me a lot on that end, and her assistant, Annie, helped me a lot on that end as well. But just being able to future think is what I like to call it, and just having a groundwork, at least the foundation built. So right now, we get a lot of inquiries, a lot of people interested. We tell them it's being worked on because I want to make sure my systems are properly put in place. I want to make sure I've niched down exactly what it is that takes for an Olympus to be an Olympus. And the past 10 months, we've been testing that. So in business, you do things in cycles as well. So typically on a 3-month cycle. So we introduce something, give it 3 months. Crap, that didn't work. All right, what's the next thing? We introduce something again, give it 3 months. Okay, that worked really well. Let's lean into it. Now let's see on the next 3 months how it does. Is it continuing to work or is it on the decline and maybe it was just a buzz? So we test things out in that capacity, and I want to give myself at least a year and a half to be able to completely and confidently stand behind something and be like, this is what makes Olympus work. And build from there. And in the process, you got to have your systems in place. You got to have your tracking, your KPI, your metrics to show you that this is what makes Olympus Olympus. And I got to be able to show that to an investor who's interested in franchising. So that's what we're trying to nail down.
Well, I'll tell you what, just based on the weather that we've had here in Wisconsin this past week, keep in mind that northern climes, we need something to do inside for about 6 months out of the year.
Fair enough.
So keep it in mind.
Fair enough.
Listen, Nima, there's something that we've been talking to everybody about today when we've had them stop in and chat with us, and that is, I don't know if you heard the breaking news last night from GameStop, but they officially declared that Xbox 360 and PS3 are now retro gaming consoles. He's I could see the rage simmering beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
No, I feel that.
Absolutely.
So we've been asking everybody today, what is your favorite go-to retro game? Define retro however you care to.
All right, I guess I'm going to show my age. Well, that sucks because that means I'm old now, so that's unfortunate. MW3, Modern Warfare 3, the OG Xbox 360 version. I grew up playing that.
It's iconic.
It is iconic. Nothing could replace it.
And it's still relevant today. You could sit down and play it today and have just as good an experience as you did back then.
Absolutely.
Which means that it's not retro.
Exactly. It's crazy to think that would be considered retro, but yeah. I think MW3 is my game. FIFA 12 was also a really good one. Grew up playing those. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember Midnight Club?
Oh my gosh.
Dude. I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition was my game. Some of the best car customizations.
Yep. Now we know who's closer to my age between Matt and Dusty. No, Midnight Club was amazing. So, yeah, I have a lot of good memories playing those games with my friends. And then I wasn't as much into it, but Halo, I remember playing that and having a good time as well. But imagine doing that with your friends right next to you. Like, that's what Olympus offers.
That's the experience. And that's why you'll stay relevant well into the future. Well, actually, since we've got a second and since we've got Nima here, and we're talking about things that need to be celebrated.
Oh.
It happens to be Mr. Covarrubias' birthday today.
No way! It's your birthday?
Yeah.
Happy
like
birthday.
An absolute boss, he's chosen to spend it with me here at the anchor desk. So I'm going to try not to stab you on your birthday, but I'm not making any promises.
That's so cool.
This is
birthday.
You can't stab me any harder than GameStop stabbed my heart with that announcement.
You're turning 24.
26. Oh my gosh.
We got to sing it to you.
If I can do this without lighting myself on fire. There we go.
All right. You ready?
Nima, how's your singing voice?
Not as good as yours.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Hopefully we're not distracting from the main stage too much. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Thanks for riding shotgun with me today, man.
Hey, thank you.
Have yourself
I appreciate
a cupcake.
this.
Nima, cupcake?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Go.
Rather than that hot dog.
This is your reward for joining us. All right.
Dusty must like you a lot because he got you good cupcakes.
Yeah, this
not
I don't cheap out on a man's cupcakes.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Nima. Take care, brother.
Hey, thank you so much.
The frosting didn't hit.
Right.
So it's okay. God damn it.
We got that on film.
Yeah, I know. Gross. Well, Matthew, another Wisconsin Esports Summit has come and gone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts on today's event? What's one thing that stands out at you as someone that we talked to or something interesting that you learned?
I just love how willing to help people are here.
Mm-hmm. You've got some cupcake.
Oh, no.
I got that on camera, too.
That's your fault.
Uh-huh.
I just love the general spirit of cooperation, of people, whether it be through accessibility, whether it be through collegiate pathways, whether it be through connecting in person, whether it be through, name anything. I mean, people are trying and succeeding to use this medium to bring people together, and it's events like this that remind us that there are people doing really good work to affect really positive change in the world, not just to give people a distraction, although that is valid in our times, but to develop skills, to connect us, and to remind us what it's all about. I love it.
And one thing that always stands out to me, and this is maybe because I'm a business owner, but one of the biggest hurdles that esports has faced and still continues to face is the notion that it would be taken seriously by the broader business community. And one thing that I think that they do a great job of here is fronting the business side of things.
Sure.
The business owners, the entrepreneurs, the people who are making this space, which is a bright and vibrant space, they're turning that into something that contributes to the overall economic fabric of a place as well. So very, very cool to see. And I think we have our next guests settling in with us now. Our next guests, Ben Morales and Cam Ebben. Racinghaus is Wisconsin's first official sim racing center. It's located in West Bend and offers world-class simulators to enthusiasts of all skill levels. The equipment and technology on site is the same often used by motorsport drivers from leagues like NASCAR and F1 to improve their performance. And we are speaking today with the owner of Racinghaus, Ben Morales, as well as Cam Ebben, 14-time iRacing world champion. who just recently translated his sim racing skills to the asphalt and raced in the Mazda MX-5 Cup. One day wants to take his talents to Le Mans. So, Ben, Cam, thank you for talking with us today. We appreciate
it, Dusty.
you.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Ben, I want to start with you. What were the games and who were the people that inspired you to one day open your own racing sim center?
Oh my, people. I think it's challenging to say, but man, like I can kind of go back if we dig. Like Need for Speed Underground, I think was like the first one that came out. I think it was like 2000 or 2001. That game, man, I was a kid at the time. I think I was like 8. And I just like played that game so much. And I honestly, like, I go back to Paul Walker, Fast and the Furious. Like it was that JDM generation in the early 2000s when like we were younger, and it was just like, whoa, like this is super cool. I know nothing about cars. My parents don't care about cars. And yeah, that was kind of it. After that, I was hooked.
And did you sort of have a want for a place like this to exist, and therefore you went out and made the need for it? What made you make that leap to be like, you know what, I'm going to make my own place?
Yeah, I mean, I like owning Racinghaus is not my first rodeo in terms of like ventures that I've gone out and done before, but I don't think I ever wanted to do a sim racing center until about 4 to 5 years ago. And then I think that's when like the idea really started to materialize in my head, and this is years ago. And yes, just through trial and error and then just my passion for it, as that grew, I started to recognize, well, hey, like no one's done it yet in the state. No one's really a leader. It's kind of rare in business that like you're doing something that no one else has really done. So I recognize as an entrepreneur, like, hey, 2 things are true. Like we can bridge the gap between motorsport and accessibility, which is like the beauty of a sim racing center. But then most importantly, I can do something for a living that I'm extremely passionate about.
Yeah. Similar question to you, Cam. What were the games and who were the people that inspired you, and who keeps inspiring you today?
Yeah, so for me, it was pretty easy and pretty prevalent, and just in my childhood, it was very, very quick for me to fall in love with racing, right? So my grandfather raced professionally for many years as I was growing up, and my father also raced. And so I was growing up at the racetrack from a very young age, at Road America specifically in Elkhart Lake. So I was there a lot growing up, and as soon as I was old enough to really appreciate what I was seeing and kind of really understand what I was looking at, I just fell in love with it, man. So from there, it was like, wow, okay, I really like racing. What am I going to do about this, right? And so it started out just with console games like Gran Turismo and Forza on PlayStation and Xbox. And then at about 11 years old, I looked towards iRacing, which is a very high-end simulator platform that a lot of professional drivers use. That's what Ben uses at the Racinghaus. And for me, getting on there was really, really pivotal in actually becoming like a skilled race car driver, in the sense of I'm on this simulation platform that's teaching me through and through with exact physics how to become a racer and how to do it in the best way possible. So, the arcade style games were good for kind of setting the passion, but once it was something that I really wanted to take seriously, even though I was 11, right? I was on the sim, putting in the laps, putting in the time, and I accredit everything that I've done to this point in my racing career, due to the fact that I spent all that time on the sim. And so I really think that became pivotal in getting me to where I am today, because I learned how to race on a video game, right? So it's been really influential for me.
First of all, I think it's remarkable that A, you knew what you wanted to do when you were 11 years old, and B, you had any kind of attention span to go out and do it, because I don't think I had that when I was 31, let alone 11.
Yeah, I was definitely not the most skilled at the time, right? It came with some learning curves, but I started to figure it out, right?
You put in the reps.
Yeah, and my attention span got a little better too, right? As 11 years old, you can only really be so good at a game, right? So I ended up figuring it out, and here we are.
So how did you two link up? What's your connection?
He reached out first, and he can probably tell you kind of how he came across, me and what I've been able to build and my brand and whatnot. So.
Yeah, like just owning a sim center, like one of my goals is to build like one of the best esports racing teams in the world, like fundamentally. And with that comes the research of like, well, hey, who's good at racing in the state? There's a lot of people that like they race or they play games, but then it's like, well, who can actually drive on iRacing at a high level? And naturally with that research, I found Cam. And, Cam, the interesting thing about Cam is like his journey in iRacing is one of the more remarkable ones, because to get to the level he got to, it's I don't want to say virtually impossible, but you had to have done it thousands and thousands of times, and the amount of races and the experience really needed to get to that level, something that he did as a kid, right? So he developed a superior sense of feel on this platform, which is iRacing, as a kid. And then as he got older, just became remarkably proficient in. And now he's, he was the number one iRating in all of North America, like top 10 or top 5 iRatings in the entire world. Now you're talking about a platform that has like the world's best real life drivers in there too. So it's not just like a video game where only video game people get into. It's like we're talking that he shares sort of that stage with the best drivers in the entire planet, right? So I found Cam, and I think I was like, hey dude, I'm building a center and I'd love to have you come out. I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, it kind of went from there, and from then on, once the place was set up and once it was open, the Racinghaus hosts monthly competitions where people go to the venue throughout the month, try to clock their best lap time in like a time trial format, kind of solo driving, and then they invite the top however many drivers. I believe it's 9, but it also varies because there's different divisions. Like if you don't quite make the top 9, you can still compete, but it's not in the high level event. So either way, if you make this certain, prestigious event, you get invited back, and then people drive on the physical simulators at his place, and then they're actually doing a wheel-to-wheel race against each other, like a LAN event, basically, right? And so my role is not so much to drive in it, but be the kind of the personality or the commentator or kind of the host of the broadcast and the live stream that accompanies it. So
it wouldn't be very fair if you were driving.
I don't know. I mean, he's definitely gotten some really talented drivers that have kind of become core members over time, right? Like especially a couple months in, people started showing up, started to get on board with the mission, and have dropped in. He could probably attest to it, but have dropped in, I don't know, at least once a week, sometimes more, and really been able to actually build themselves from people who had never touched a sim at all to now becoming really, really talented.
It sounds like you found your people. You found your core group, the constituency that's going to keep you afloat. But how about the larger West Bend community as a whole? How has the community rallied around the idea of the business that you've put forward, and where is your place in the city?
Yeah, the community's been good. Like, we're 9 minutes away from Slinger Speedway, which is the fastest quarter-mile short track in the world, they say. Road America's about 40 minutes away. Milwaukee Mile's about 40 minutes away. So the community, at least by us, like those are racers, the weekend warriors, the families that have kids in go-karting, and those are everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just been a blessing. I think we're in a strategically a really good location. The reception's been great. I think till Cam's point, like the community we've built has been really unique. A lot of times you're in business and it's just you really struggle to get enough people that care enough about it. I think with us, like people want to see it win. I think in a world full of like a lot of independence and accolades for yourself, which is valid still, people are like, well, man, like for some people they can be like, man, I want to run with Racinghaus Esports and I want to learn about sim racing and I want to be fast and I want to show up to these monthly events and actually compete against like other sim racers in the state that are always pushing to be the fastest ones. And like Cam and I this last month saw, like we had a gentleman, I think he's like 13, came and just like won 2 of the 3 races he was in. He's a 13-year-old, right? So he's competing against like adults that do this in real life too. But then we have like, Will Borland, who showed up. He's a senior at Cedarburg High School. He's won the last 2 months in the competition, and he's not just racing against, he's racing against Noah and Reed, which are Noah Yeager and Reed Wire, which are like some of our top esports guys. But ultimately, I think everyone then has taken a step back and was like, man, like having Will Borland incorporate, like that's great. Because it shows the other guys that used to show up and win every month, like, hey, you got to practice more. Well, then, in a month or 2, like there's going to be that next guy that shows up and now he's got something to prove. And so that's been the beauty of it, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned like the accessibility of it, right? And I'm curious, for folks who don't know, can you tell us what differentiates what you offer at Racinghaus that's different from like a racing cabinet at an arcade? You
Yeah.
know, for folks who don't know their Forza Motorsports from their horizons.
Yeah, like iRacing, like I think in any discussion when you bring up sim racing, like, yeah, there's a million different games, Gran Turismo, Forza, Assetto Corsa, LMU, Race Room. There's a lot of different ones, but then when you bring up iRacing, like it is held in special regard. It is the sim, right? If you want to be a sim racer. And so just the technology though that we have at our disposal at Racinghaus, shout out to like Track Racer and Virtual Racing School, VRS. They've just been great partners of ours, but the equipment that we allow people to simulate racing on, it's really good stuff. So when you think of like some sims are like Chuck E. Cheese, and I've had a fair amount of people that show up and they're like, oh my gosh, like I did not think it was going to be like that.
Why is it so hard?
Yeah,
I can't
and they're
stay
like-
on the track.
Yeah,
well, you're going 150 miles an hour. It's hard to keep a car on the track.
For sure. And the people that are like, oh, yeah, I race. And I'm like, oh, so you must be good then, you know? And they hop on and, you know, everyone gets a fair shake. And before they know it, they kind of get humbled back down to reality. And it's like, there's, you know, lap times never lie. And a lot of people think it's like Chuck E. Cheese. It's like, it's not. iRacing is just, you can't game the game.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the young folks that come in and some of them flash talent. I would imagine all of them aspire to someday do what you have, Cam, which is make the transition from the Sims to the real life track. So as you look back at your journey going from the one to the other, what do you tell these young folks who are hoping to follow in your footsteps about what they need to do?
Yeah, so I'd say, you know, for the most part, the assumption is that if you are a sim driver and you're looking to get into real racing, the reason you probably haven't yet is funding, right? And that's usually the limiting factor because a simulator is much, much cheaper in the grand scheme of things than getting into a real race car. That's just the nature of the sport. But there's ways around that. And what I found to be super successful, super beneficial for me in my journey was taking to social media to tell my story. Becoming proficient in the iRacing platform was a big part of it, but it wasn't everything. I was able to share my ambitions as a sim racer and say, hey, I have ambitions to go to the professional racing side and become a real life driver, and sharing those ambitions in, you know, engaging content that people can follow along with. What that did is it really generated an audience around me that were kind of invested, not even monetarily, just invested to see what happens. You know, how do I do? Do I make it to where I say I'm going to go? And it really allowed people to kind of get behind me, and I had this audience. And you pair that with the fact that I have this story coming from sim racing into real racing, and it's a differentiator for me personally. And so it helps me stand out when you start to look towards gathering the funding to jump up to the next level, because I'm not necessarily just another face in the crowd. You're kind of looking at it as like a personal branding side, or like a stock. Like you want to have stock value.
Say, you know, you call it having an audience. In the world of marketing, we call that metrics.
Right, exactly.
And you walk in with metrics and say, I've got these, you know, X thousand number of people, X 100,000 people who are following me on Instagram.
Yeah. So, yeah, my title partner is Screaming Sicilian Pizza, and a lot of the ways that we were able to kind of make that deal happen, or at least the upside that they saw in that, was the metrics that I had behind me, right? It's just on top of my unique mission, which people invest in stories. They don't really invest necessarily in people. It's more so the stories associated with the people, in my opinion, right? And having that unique story of sim racing into real life pro racing, that was something that was really instrumental in them joining me and coming on board and helping fund my season, because they're invested in what I'm doing as a driver, and they're getting behind my journey because it's unique and it's different and it's kind of groundbreaking in a way, right? I feel like I've kind of been paving the way for people that, like you said, want to follow in my footsteps, right? I'm kind of an advocate for the sim to reality pathway, like I enjoy calling it, right? So yeah, I'd say to those people, like, assuming that you're not in a position to move up into car racing just yet, but you still want to make it happen, there's ways to do that. I think the wrong mindset is to say, oh, I don't have money, it's over, my dreams are done. Like, I think if you really are truly passionate about what you want to do, you got to go and pursue that. And, you know, posting on social media is free. Pick up your phone, start posting, just share what you're doing day to day, how you're becoming that much closer to being a real race car driver. And eventually people will start becoming invested in it. And it's just blossoming from there.
Speaking of social, where can people find you? Where can people follow you? Both of you. I mean, your profile and your presence certainly, but then also Racinghaus. Where do we find you on social and the web?
So I'm Cam Ebben Racing on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You can just search up Cam Ebben Racing. That's CAMEBBEN Racing. And yeah, Ben can
Just
run you through-
Racinghaus.
Yeah.
Racinghaus,
just
spelled the
Racinghaus.
good German way.
HAUS.
HAUS.
The original.
Yep.
The original.
Yes, sir.
Well, fellas, we've been asking everybody today since GameStop chose violence and decided last night to declare that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 are now retro consoles.
Wow.
I know. What is, define it how you want, but what is your favorite retro game?
GameCube. Game. I'm actually going to continue on the GameCube route. Madden 2002.
Solid choice.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Hey.
This is really hard because, like, if you think of games that define generations, like as their childhood, I just have to. I think I have to say it though, because like my son's going through it right now, and as soon as I say this, you'll probably laugh, but I'm rewatching him play my childhood in Pokemon Yellow. And he's 4 years old, and he just beat Brock. Right, and he has a Pikachu, he has a Nidoran, he has a female and male version Nidoran, he has a Mankey, right? He has
This guy's got the team.
he has a Butterfree, right? Sleep
Amazing.
Powder, like OG. So like,
Oh yeah.
there's so many good games. So like, if you go back to like, what is one of the first games that like defined a generation in the handheld space? It has to be a Pokemon game. Yeah, and seeing my son go through that, and now he's like learning all about it, and he's putting it together really quick, and he asks me like, help me beat Brock, and I'm like, well, Pikachu's gonna soak the
son,
rock type.
this
so
is something you have to do yourself.
we never had help.
No,
That was like our parents were like, I don't know what you're looking
I don't know
at.
how this thing works. Let alone.
So
how
I
to-
would have to say Pokemon Yellow because you get Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, and Pikachu follows you, and it's the most accurate game ever. So, anyways,
very thoughtful choice.
I really thought that through. I did.
You did. Well, Ben Morales and Cam Ebben, it's been so cool talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Esports Summit podcast.
Awesome. Thank you guys so
guys.
much.
Appreciate
the
it.
opportunity.
So, Matt, we started to wind it down a little bit, then we're joined by two more guests to polish the conversation off.
Yep.
But any final thoughts to add before we call it a show?
I don't think the Xbox 360 is retro, man. Because if it's retro, I'm retro, and I'm not ready to accept that.
Retro, maybe? I would call you a classic.
Oh,
if I'm being honest.
I would call today a classic, Dusty.
It was another classic, another great Wisconsin Esports Summit. And of course, we are so grateful to be a part of it. Thanks to Brandon and everybody that puts in the hard work to make this event happen. The great guests that we got to speak with today. Everybody was excellent. It's so much fun to do this show, and we look forward to doing it again real soon. But he is Matt Covarrubias. I am Dusty Weis. We are from PodCamp Media, a podcast production company based here in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin, working with brands and associations all across North America. And we are proud to support the Wisconsin esports scene and everything that the Milwaukee Esports Alliance does. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks once again for having us here at the summit, and we will see you guys next year.